Hello guys, welcome back to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to do a simple program in which we will calculate the sum of three numbers. So the first thing is we're going to declare those three numbers, right? So we need a variable to store those three numbers. So I'm going to create the first variable would be integer first number that is going to be equal to 5 plus 6 multiplied by 5 plus 7. This is going to be our first number. Then the second number will be call it as 40 multiplied by 10 is the second number, and the third number would be equal to, let's say, 5. So I have declared three variables here. First, now the name of the variable, this is the second variable, and this is the third variable. And all of these are of the type integer, which means they can only have numbers without any decimal point. Okay, so these are the three variables that I have created. Now let's go ahead and first display the value of these three variables. So you can say first number is plus, then this will display the value of this, then copy the statement two more times, and the second number would be this, and the third number would be this. So we have declared the three variables, and now we are displaying the value of the three variables. Now let's go ahead and hit the execute button, and it will open an ominous log window, and we are not interested in these details. We just go over to the debug only, and you can see here that this is the first number 132, that is 11 multiplied by 12, that is 132. Then the second number is 40 multiplied by 10, that is equal to 400, and this is equal to 132, and the third number is 5. So these are just the simple comments. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to display the sum of the three numbers. So all I can do is that there are two things that I can do. I can just say system.of_debug total is, and the total would be equals to what? I could say first num plus second num plus third number. So what I've done is this is going to be printed on the screen as it is, because this is in single quote, and this is the separate thing. So it will go and replace first one with 132, second number with 400, and the third number is 5. So what the answer would be? 132 plus 400 plus 5. So what would be the output? 400 plus 132, 532 plus 5 would be 537. You can use your calculator. The output should be 537. So it should display 537. So this is one way of doing the program. So all the things were written this in the first line also. You have to calculate the first num, second num, and third num, and you can hit the execute button. So output would be so we are not interested in this. We should go to debug only. So output would be 537. As I have already written the answer, the output is 537. You could done in also in another way, or the other way is declaring the fourth variable, integer total. You can declare the name of the variable total, and you will write the addition of those numbers is equals to total. And instead of making this statement, you can write the total here. It will give you the same exact result. So the answer will be first num plus second num plus third num. So the answer would be 537. And later on display, you can set that to display the value of total. So it should give me the same result. So you can see here the total is 537. Nothing is changed. So another point here to bring the attention is if you try to add something else. So that's the like if you want to get rid of all of this, and if you try to say that first num is equals to the string value and say hello, and I try to say that system of debug and try the first num is first num is the first num. Okay, let's say this is first num, and you get an error because the type is integer, because we have defined the type of variable is integer, because this variable can have only integer values. And if you try to put something else, now if you try to put a string value, in this case it is going to give you an error, and the error will be the illegal assignment. So looking at the error itself, we should be able to figure out that why this error I received. So now if I go ahead and hit the execute, it will tell you that illegal assignment from string to integer, because you're trying to assign a value of string inside of an integer. Now integer are supposed to have no decimal. So if you go ahead and put it decimal in this number, this is also going to result in an error, because integer can only have no decimal point. So this is why you are getting an error. So integer values will be numbers without any decimal point. Okay, so this is going to be another program to illustrate. How do you declare a variable? How do you assign a value to the variable? Or whatever the calculation you want to do it. Now another point here is you can declare the variables in a single line and initialize afterwards. So you can say integer first num second num and the third num. So we have declared all these in the single line. So this is fine. Then here you can say first num is equals to 5, then second num is equals to 10, and third num is equals to 15. So this is also fine. You can declare the variable in one line and you can initialize the value later. So now if I have go ahead and write that system dot debug total is plus first num plus second plus third num plus third num. So this should display as 5 plus 10 plus 15. That would be 15 plus 520. That should be 30. So now let's go ahead and execute. So you can declare the values in one line and you can initialize the value later. So let's execute it. So now it's going to be display the value here. Now the answer would be 30. As I already tell you that the answer is 30. So system.debug is used to display things. Now, if you do not initialize the value of the variable, what happens? So if you do not initialize the values, so let's say you declare the variable as first num, integer, first num. Let's say another variable called string first name, and you initialize the value as Pragya, and then let's say you declare another variable called last name and you did not initialize with anything. So in this case, if you try to print the values, what will happen is if you do not initialize the value of the variable, automatically the value of the variables would be equals to null. Means nothing. Nulls mean nothing, automatically will become null. So if I go ahead and say that first num system dot debug first num from here we can copy this. Let's see what will be the output. Similarly, let's go ahead, we display the value of first name, so it will print the value of Pragya on the screen. So we'll say first name, and the third thing is system.debug. We're going to display the value of last name. Last name here also. Last name. So what will be in the single quotes? It will be displayed as it is. and then whatever it will go ahead, it will find the value of the variable. And in order to add these, you have to use this concatenation sign. So let's go ahead and execute. Now this should returns the null. This should return Pragya because the first name is Pragya. This also should return the null value because this is not initialized. So let's go ahead and hit the execute button. So if you don't initialize the value of the variable, it is not going to an error, but it is going to end initialize the null. So you can see here our guess was right. The first name is null. Then the first name is Pragya, and the last name should be equals to null. Okay, so it's important to initialize, and if you don't initialize with any value automatically, they will going to value of null. Now in the next tutorial, we'll do a simple program to calculate, let's say, simple interest. So we'll talk about that in the next tutorial. I'll see you then. Have a good day. Bye.